see we're meeting all each other for the first time. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gwen, and I'm from a company that does privacy technology, specifically in crypto. So ZK Verify is a universal zero knowledge proof verification layer, and we are designed to work with all kinds of verifiers, all kinds of zero knowledge proofs, as well as all chains. On a less technical front, it means we help with the underlying ZK tech at the bottom of the zero knowledge tech stack that enables like decentralized identities and many things like that. That's a short bit about me, and I lead business in ZK Verify. My background includes founder, operate. Hello.
Yeah.
Like that?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Oh my god. I can't remember what I was saying, but yeah, my background includes about 20 years of founder, operator, and investment experience. Just before ZK Verify, I spent 2 years at Binance building up the BNB chain fund. So yeah, Claire, please, we'll go round of intros first and who you are, what you do.
All right. Well, first, thank you so much to SheFi for having us and putting this on. They're always my favorite events. My name's Claire Kart. I am the CMO at Aztec. Thank you all so much. Thanks. If you follow me on Twitter, I'm sorry. I apologize in advance. So I'm the CMO of Aztec. Aztec is a layer 2 privacy native for Ethereum. We will be launching soon, so I'm not sleeping a whole lot, but it's very, very exciting. I'm from the Bay Area. I've been in crypto for a time since 2017, and I am a very vocal proponent of women sort of, owning their journey, and that's something that I love to connect about. So if you're around after, I would love to talk to you about that.
Hey, I'm Charlotte. I'm a R&D engineer at Inverse. So we are a team of researchers and developers, and we work together on building applied cryptography solution and privacy solution for clients that work with us, such as Volcoin, Zcash, and other companies. So my personal specialization is zero knowledge and data privacy, and I've been in the space for about 2 years now.
Hello everyone, my name is Rahul. I'm the CEO at Safe Labs. For some of you, it may be new as well, but my first time in Singapore, so I'm meeting a lot of people their first time as well. It's super nice to be here. Thanks to SheFi for also hosting and inviting a great space. Safe Wallet is the self-custodial smart account wallet that's being used by teams and individuals all over the world. We power about 100 billion in assets, which is give or take 10 or 20% of entire Ethereum, depending on how the market is backing on this. We've been around for a while, and we've been building some really cool stuff. For us, privacy, self-custody is a very important core pillar, and that's why I'm here to talk a little bit about that.
Thank you, Jules, for inviting me to this panel, and thank you, SheFi, for giving me this opportunity. I really.
Valen, can you put the mic closer?
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. Yes. Thank you, Jules. Thank you, Jules, for inviting me, and thank you, SheFi, for giving me this opportunity. I'm Valen. I am a community organizer, part of Ethereum Auckland, ETH Panda, also Women in Ethereum Protocol, WIEP, and I'm co-hosting the Privacy Hub at Delft Connect and the Cyberpunk Congress with Web3 Policy Now MP. That's the most interesting in that. Come talk to me later. Before Web3, I was actually working as a lobbyist for the New Zealand government, and also had the experience working in Singapore as a criminal defense litigator. So yeah, quite interesting background. Now I work close with co-developers and Ethereum dollars.
Thank you so much. Okay, just because the audio is a little bit difficult, right? If any time you cannot hear, can I ask some of you to like that, so that whoever's watching, we just see, okay? Okay, great. And just get a sense of the audience, who here is technical? Okay, quite a bunch. And I'm assuming everyone's in Web3, maybe? Everyone Web3? Okay, great. So those who did not raise your hands, Web 2? Okay. Web 2, or are you like in privacy technology, like infra? No? Okay. Okay. Good range. All right. Great. So let's start off with the key definitions here, because everyone has a different definition of what privacy means and freedom means. So I want to start with anyone. What is privacy for you? Oh wait, actually, what is freedom for you? We can start with someone who has the mic. And actually, can I ask if I have one more mic for Claire? If the organizers are, thank you, if you can, yeah. I like having a mic in my hand. So I can interrupt, maybe. Thank you so much. But yeah, whoever can start, actually. You want to start here? Okay.
So the question was, what is
freedom? Yeah.
Freedom and
to you.
privacy, right? Yeah, I guess it's the right to kind of have a choice, and not the choice being made for you in some way. And also privacy, I guess, to some degree, I tend to see it as if you protection from being observed in some way, because that creates a sense of bias, and it's quite different for individuals and institutions. And I find this dichotomy quite interesting. That when an institution or a company wants privacy, it's under the guise of security. But when an individual seeks privacy, it's kind of treated as a proof of guilt. You have something to be guilty about. And that's a very cultural shift, I feel. But and from there, I really see how freedom can emerge in general. And ultimately, it's going to be, I think, expression of choice at the end of the day.
I like that. I did not realize, yeah, the institutions and privacy, you're right. Because I'm the kind that doesn't like anything online. And my husband is like, you will go to jail one day, right? Kind of thing. Like, better warn me.
So for me, the definition of freedom is really linked to the definition of privacy and laws and like what is good and right and many things like that. So it's amazing to have freedom, but we need also some sort of system to ensure that we are moving within a space that's safe for everybody. So the notion of freedom needs to be safeguarded in some ways, and that's where privacy would intervene. But yeah, the notion of freedom would be to be allowed to do what you need to do, what you want to do within that domain that's like safe, regulated, and that's not gonna hurt anyone.
Okay, so choice and freedom to move within a set like boundaries. Claire, you wanted to chime in.
I think a lot about freedom in terms of like being able to sort of establish your own boundaries. I mean, I know we talk about that a lot in terms of like our personal lives, but I also think like regarding technology, like a key part of freedom is being able to, set your own boundaries. And I think unfortunately where we are right now with blockchain, we sort of built like the perfect surveillance technology, and we don't really have tools to set those boundaries, you know, to say in this context I'm okay sharing this, in this context I'm not okay sharing this. And so we've sort of lost our ability digitally, not just in crypto, but also in Web 2, to really be able to like set boundaries, which I think is essential for freedom. And that's how I see privacy and freedom as connected.
Yeah, for me, I see freedom as the ability not to be censored. I see freedom as the ability not to be censored.
Okay, got it. Very interesting range. So in all your different work, right, you're doing a chain, you know, you're doing a bunch of things, securing 10% of Ethereum's assets, you know, like community as well. Like, how in your work are you building privacy as a foundation, hopefully in this new internet? Valen, do you want to start?
Oh yeah, sure. So as a community organizer, I think my purpose and my goal is to educate the community about what kind of data, for example, their favorite platforms are harvesting from them, and also why they should care about privacy. For example, should you really be using Facebook Messenger or should you be using Signal? What kind of data is being sold on by these companies and what they're actually used for? what kind of data is stored when you use certain applications. It's more about spreading awareness. What are alternatives? For example, I'm part of ePanda, and you know that a lot of the Chinese communities cannot access the same kind of applications and websites like the rest of the world do. So what kind of VPNs they use? How can we make sure that information gets across to them in a neutral way that doesn't get them, who's receiving that information, into trouble? So a lot of my work thinks about community from their perspective, so that they're not, accidentally prosecuted or get into trouble for something that is actually quite neutral, or maybe they're building something big for Ethereum. So yeah, I'm not into product voting, but this is a kind of questions that keep me awake at night.
And to be clear, all these, your target audience is developers, right? At all these ETH events.
Yes, most of them are developers, but some of them are also crypto noise that maybe heard about Bitcoin when it hit all-time high and just want to learn more about Ethereum.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I can share like how we are kind of implementing this or how we think about it. So I had a technical background, so
He was hired to be CTO, as then promoted to CEO. Congrats, Rahul.
Yeah, being a CEO in crypto is it's not easy.
Yeah, whether it's congrats, I don't know.
So I wanted to explain a concept. It's not technical, but we use this in engineering all the time. The concept is called Clonways Law. It basically says that the products that you build reflect the communication style that you want to have. And there's a concept of inverse Clonways style. The communication style that you want to have or should reflect the products that you have. So when your question is like, how do you build privacy-centric products, or how would we actually organize ourselves? One of the things I had to do this year was we reframe the culture that we had at Safe. And one of the first core pillars, actually, you had to write it explicitly. We call it safeguarding sovereignty. And this is if you have a very big project, we ask our product team members to really make an impact statement. How is this going to help preserve a user's sovereignty? So that's the product that we want to make. And then the second question is, how do we organize ourselves so that we are successful in kind of building it? And we actually reflect this in our own culture as a team. So we have a lot of ownership and autonomy, which comes a lot from privacy, but also with privacy or with autonomy also comes accountability and stuff. So you have to kind of put the foundations in place if you want to really build the products that want to communicate with your players. So we had to really not just build the products, but we had to change the way we communicate internally and organize ourselves internally as well. I find that to be the key movement.
Can you give an example? Like all hands now, all the numbers are blacked out.
No, but think about like teams that have like mini CEOs, for example. Like they have their own accountability metrics, for example. We organize ourselves where teams have very tight mission alignment. So I ask my teammates, hold me accountable to knowing how the mission also, you know the why, and we really diverge on the what and how and when inside of it. So I hope that makes sense.
Xiaoye?
So yeah, as per our group working in R&D in applied cryptography, privacy is one of our main focus. One of our branding is that we call ourselves architects of openness. So basically we believe that cryptography, especially technologies as zero-knowledge proofs, are needed to be the foundation of open systems. Unfortunately, we cannot just remain with doing the right things all the time, and we cannot just like open everything and hope for the best. Like it's not gonna work out. We need to have some sort of safeguarding infrastructures, and that's what we're trying to build. And at its center, privacy is really important because we want to respect the privacy of each individual. So in this design of the open society and open systems that we want to build, we need to respect all the needs of everything and everyone. And so, yeah, some of the need of the system is to keep the data private, but some other need of the system is to make sure that people comply by the rules. So yeah, like according all those needs is actually at part of what we're doing, and we're doing that using applied cryptography mostly.
And when you do all these work, building all these research, for example, who do you work with to get it hopefully applied and out to the market? Do you work with particular other companies?
So, I mean, one of our clients is WorldCoin. So, WorldCoin. So,
You mentioned that, yeah.
yeah. And also Zcash. Zcash. Unfortunately, it's like two different, very different situations. But yeah, what WorldCoin is doing is really nice, because this notion of being able to identify people is very important. If we want to have privacy, we still have to make sure we know who is actually doing something, to have some sort of regulation. Because if everything is very opaque, it's not gonna work, in our opinion, because it's gonna be chaos, and too much freedom usually leads to chaos. So it's about finding the right balance between protecting the individual and protecting the privacy, while having the option to put on some rules and put on some safeguarding. So being able to identify the users without revealing any information about them, without revealing what they purchased, what's on their bank accounts, or when they send money to it. That's none of our business, just making sure it's safe for everybody in the system. That's what we want to achieve.
Yeah, so actually the story around how Aztec started building privacy tech is very interesting. They didn't start trying to build privacy tech. They started, and I say they, I'm not one of the founders. The team asked me to join them about 1.5 years ago. And so when I joined and I was kind of uncovering their origin story, it's very product-led, which I think is very fascinating. So they wanted to build an on-chain lending business, and they had a really good value proposition about essentially just facilitating cheaper lending between businesses. They had some interest, and then they got into the meeting, and the businesses were like, wait a minute, everyone is going to be able to see what I'm doing? And they were like, well, yeah, but you'll save some money. And the businesses were like, get out of here. Absolutely not. And so it was that desire, right? They wanted to build an on-chain business. And then that problem, no one will accept this technology. No one will seriously consider this technology without privacy. So, it's like the meme, is so-and-so in the room with us right now? It's are businesses in the room with us right now? No, they're really not. Is JP Morgan in the room with us right now? No, he's not here. They're not here because we don't have privacy. So I think for Aztec, the journey really started with product, and then over time, they actually had one of the most viral products at DeFi Summer. It was private cross-chain swaps, essentially. And then they realized, wait a second, what we could actually do is go deeper in this tech and build the tool set for other developers to build privacy products on chain. So the whole kind of inspiration behind Aztec is just they feel it's gonna unlock this huge wave of on-chain adoption, because it's the missing feature. Blockchain is not feature complete. I always say that till I'm blue in the face. It's not feature complete. Anybody here who's ever tried to market something, you can have the best campaign, you can talk at all the events. If it's missing a key feature that your customers need, you are not gonna make it, right? You're not gonna make it. And so for us, we really feel it's that missing piece that's gonna bring about this on-chain renaissance of adoption and really flourishing.
So Claire, can you give a specific example from the product perspective? You see, product-led privacy, right? After all the origin story, interesting origin story. Actually not uncommon. A lot of tech people build the tech and imagine customers will come, right? So from a product and tech perspective, how is privacy foundational or unique in Aztec?
Yeah, so privacy is one of those interesting things because it's literally almost like the antithesis of blockchain. Blockchain was meant to be observable And we have this paradigm of sort of enforced transparency, right? So in order to build privacy tech, they really had to start like deep down in a stack, which is why it's taken them 7 years to come to market. So they have engineered cryptography, which powers a lot of the ZK tech in the market today. And then they built their own programming language. So it's a domain-specific language, DSL called Noir. And then now we're building the network, right? So quite complex. But it's really built kind of from the ground up. Like we have our own VM, right? We have the Aztec VM. It's not an EVM, so they had to build that. Like it's just a quite complex problem to be able to merge technology onto something that's supposed to have like enforced transparency.
For those in the audience who don't know what DSL means, domain-specific language, can you explain a little bit?
Yeah, so a domain-specific language, I mean, without getting too into the weeds, and there's probably someone out there technical, maybe Rabiul, who's gonna be like, you're absolutely wrong, Claire. But the way I think about it is like, you know, it's almost like a dialect or something, right? It's like a very specific niche language that does like one very specific thing. So if you think about some of the more like generalized general purpose languages, like, you know, C++ or Rust, like they have really broad application, but domain-specific languages are meant to do like a very specific thing. And so for Noir, we say it's Rust for ZK, right? Rust is super easy. It's very easy to use and learn and has a lot of advantages. And we wanted to do that for the ZK toolset because prior to Noir, I mean, I'm not exaggerating. I think that there were like 100 qualified people in the world who could, what we call hand roll a ZK circuit. And that was just completely hampering the adoption of this technology. Like, if you only have 100 people who can handle these circuits, your business is gonna move really, really slow. There weren't people who could really audit them. It was really, really problematic. So with this DSL, it basically lets, you know, any programmer, any developer write with ZK. And there's a lot of auditing firms now who work with Noir. So it's kind of like this whole ecosystem around how do you build a Madame de new tech stack, which is very, very, very complex. I had said earlier in my career, like there's some things I'll never do. I said I would never go work at an L2 because I think that they're undifferentiated, but then I found Aztec very differentiated. And I said I would never work at a DSI because it frankly just seemed like hell. And here I am, so.
The accounting firms are Web 2, Web 3 accounting firms? You said accounting firms are using, right?
Pardon me, if I misspoke, I apologize. Yeah, there's auditing firms that are able to audit the code. So that's just a huge barrier to like launching new apps, dApps, smart contracts, right? Someone needs to audit it. And if there's no one that can audit ZK circuits, like that's part of the reason why the adoption of technology has been, frankly, incredibly slow. Yeah.
And Rahul, you know, you are heading up like a large ecosystem player, right? And earlier when we were just chatting, you were talking about doing enterprises, you know. So how are you thinking about the next step? You said that you had to change the culture, right, internally, right? So in your next stage, like for the next, I don't know, 6 to 12 months, for example, how are you thinking about your, like any milestones you're excited about? And how are you thinking about the roadmap?
Yeah, you know, when SAFE started, it started off, the team wrote the smart contracts, which is you just call a smart account, which is a multi-sig protocol which they invented. Like that was many years ago, and a lot has changed since then. Because when they wrote that was a public group. It's free, it's open source, everyone can use it, and SAFE became an entire ecosystem. And I think over the years, it changed a lot. Like just like the crypto industry, right? There are no new people coming into the industry, and we're building for new people. And we changed the language how we market it to the new people as well. So did SAFE, and it grew a lot, and the use cases really kind of proliferated expansively. And one big thing that we saw is a lot of enterprises are using this. You know, it was never totally built with that user segment in mind. For example, out of the 60 billion, I can see accounts that hold hundreds, 500 million or 2 billion, 3 billion in a single account, you know? And when it's a completely censorship resistant protocol. right? Break sign. So when you park $1 billion in a single account on the blockchain, which is not, it's completely public and transparent by default. Every single app, every single company, every single hardware, every single software, every single device becomes a point of attack. Why? Because the reward is that much higher. You can deploy an army if you want it, because that's their reward, and that's not what we want in the first place, right? What we've seen is a lot different kind of user segments started using Safe, right? And now we're changing our perspective and becoming more opinionated. We're building a more opinionated product for those user segments. So in product, we have this whole adage that we say, when you build for everyone, you're building from no one in particular. And that's something we're changing. And that's really shaping the next 6-12 months, or probably the following weeks for us.
Very cool. Valen, I'd love to go to you. So we've talked quite a lot about institutions, right? Institutional kind of needs for maybe privacy $1 billion. For you, Valen, you talk a lot to the developers, the normies, as you said, right? When you go to them, do they actually care about privacy? How much is privacy, education really needed from you?
Well, actually, I do have a question for the audience. How many of you, when you go onto a website, you see the pop-up thing that says accept all cookies? How many of you accept all cookies? How many of you accept only necessary cookies? How many of you decline all cookies? Yeah, you see a lot of people, when I asked this question at the Tokyo conference, most people actually put up their hands when they say, I only click accept necessary cookies or decline all cookies, which means that even if they don't actively think about privacy, actually they might, somehow subconsciously know that there are some kind of data traffic involved in these cookies. So I would say that, privacy is not something that a lot of people actively think about it unless you are truly obsessed, or you're building something as a builder. I think maybe privacy adoption, in my opinion, will come at a pace and also at a frequency where it is not shouted out to the masses like, this app is adopting a ZK tool, that kind of thing. It will just be launched. Nobody will need to know, or nobody might need to care that it is actually using ZK stocks and ZK tools. And then you just need to know that your transactions are private. I think amongst the normies, sorry if I'm taking a lot of half. So amongst the normies, I think that there is still a confusion that people doesn't know that every transaction that is related to your wallet on-chain is visible to other people. People confuse pseudonymity with anonymity. And they didn't realize that, hey, actually 5 years ago, I got Bitcoin on Binance, and then I transfer out into my wallet, and now, maybe the IRS or IRD might find out who here has that experience on-ramping on a centralized exchange and then transferring out to a wallet. I mean, lots of my community had that experience too, and no shame into that, because, people get confused, or people don't understand that pseudonymity is non-anonymity, and that your transactions are based online, and that's why we try to educate people about privacy protocols that can actually enhance their the way they interact with products. Not because they have anything to hide, it's because it's nobody's business. I want to send money.
Yeah, so Bailey, we've been told to wrap up. So if you can conclude, right, what are you most excited about over the next 12 months?
Well, I'm most excited about the events that I'm organizing.
Which one? Which one? Dev Connect?
Yeah. Privacy Hub at Dev Connect, and also the Scatterbank Conference. And I think we should make privacy more mainstream, more normal.
Rahul, when can we see Safe everywhere in all institutions?
What do you mean? We are everywhere.
Oh, good answer.
I just don't know. No, but we have pretty big things coming up in 2 weeks. We are doing some big launches as well. We're gonna be doing a lot of this building in public thing, and really connecting with the convenient thing along Hawaii. So yeah, you will see us everywhere probably if you're not in yet.
And Charlotte, for the next 12 months, because you're on the cryptography research side, right? I want to link it back to the word guardrails, but we haven't used it this panel right now. I thought we had more time. So I think you're the best person to kind of talk about it from a research perspective. Like, what kind of guardrails are you, is next on the roadmap to research and think about?
So currently there is a gap between privacy and validity. So you can do a lot in a validity format, so you can prove that the computation was done correctly for many type of computation. But you don't have that for actual ZK. So ZK is used a lot for validity, and that's pretty far at the moment. But for actual ZK, where the input is private, you actually don't have so much computation available. So filling that gap will allow to have really nice application that will actually protect the individual privacy while being able to comply to laws, while being able to comply to much work. So that will allow to do much more things in a very private, preserving manner.
Thank you. And Claire, you're closing our panel. What's next for Aztec in the next 12 months?
We're gonna launch. It's been a really long road for the founders. Like I mentioned earlier, they really they sort of had this onion, and they were like, oh, we gotta keep peeling it back, all the way down to the base layer cryptography. But I'm so proud of what they built. It's been an honor to join the team. A lot of my team is in the audience, and we're just working really hard to bring this to market because we believe in it. I mean, you don't find many founders who've worked on something for 7-8 years in crypto. They had a lot of chances to sort of throw in the towel. Privacy has not been easy. There have been moments where it's really been under attack, and they've kept going. So I'm super proud that we're gonna bring that. I think it's a very advanced tool set, and it's something we all need. And also, if anybody watches the charts, it's privacy season. So I'm super, super, super excited for privacy in general. More projects will get funded 100% because of what's going on, and that's what we need.
Because ZK Verified just launched on mainnet 3 days ago. So this is the ZK season, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thank you. So thank you everyone for listening. Sorry we didn't get the audience questions, but thank you SheFi for having us. Thank you everyone.